Hello and welcome to the Blossom Unity podcast. My name is Dennis and this is Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to have inspiration for your day-to-day life. Hello and welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you. Thank you to everyone who tunes in every week to be a part of the conversation. Remember, you can always DM us or email us to, have certain questions answered or even possibly to be on the podcast. So, without a further ado, hello, Nicole, and how are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm fucking good.
Is that the truth, or is there a bit of
I put the
falseness
fucking
there?
there is an absolute falseness there. Like with everyone else, I'm trying to hold up the mask that I built.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you use that word. There's been a lot of people that I've been communicating with lately, and their reoccurring message is take off the fucking mask. You've been wearing it for too long. You
Yeah,
know, that's one of the biggest things. It's not a problem wearing the mask, okay? To go throughout the physical reality, you need a mask. You know, if you're a CEO, there's a particular mask you got to wear as a CEO. If you sell hot dogs, there's a particular mask you have to wear to sell hot dogs. The problem lies in when you can't take the fucking thing off. It's like that movie Jim Carrey, The Mask, and he just can't take the mask off anymore because the mask is taken over and controlled.
yeah,
And now this identity is assigned to the mask and who you believe yourself to be.
yeah. I think that wearing the mask, I just made a post about that last week. I think wearing the mask is not a problem at all. The question is how much identification is there with what you're projecting out. And the mask
Bingo.
is an energetic projection into the space.
Mm,
So what you need to understand is you're only attracting with the vibrational field of the mask. So if you're like, there is this saying, like, if you constantly attract the wrong things, um you might want to go another way. And this is like the truth of that is also true with the masks that we are
mm-hmm.
having, that we wear. Because like, I'm very conscious of the quality of my masks. I and it's really funny what clothes are doing for the masks,
Mm,
what personal mindset does, what and how much protection there is within each masks. I was going out, my sister had her birthday at the end of March, and I was going out for the first time in 2.5 years into like in a city, in a club. Like that was like 2 weeks ago. And I did my makeup and I did like, and it's really fascinating how people react when I have pictures on my Instagram with makeup. They're like, oh my
mm.
God, you look so pretty. This is so pretty. This is so beautiful. And you look amazing. And I'm like, that's very fascinating how, like, I can pull up that mask. Maybe next time for our podcast, I will do the makeup, like full face of makeup. And a full face of makeup means for me, it takes 5 minutes. I'm not like doing the 300 hours of makeup. I'm a pro in
Mm.
this. But what's really fascinating with this is like, how society, how your eyes in, or how the eyes of society, of the collective, are used to women be doing something that makes them look pretty in the eyes of the collective, because the eyes are so used to what's spread from the media. And when there is, like, my teacher Guru Jagat, she never used to wear makeup ever. Like, that's, she was like, this is you, this is the projection that you give out, and if you do makeup, you do you, you do whatever you want, you're a householder, but know that this is a mask. And then um I was out there, and I looked, like, I analyzed the people, and I figured out, like, in the car, because my nervous system, like, I never feel safe anywhere. Like, this is like my basic underlying vibrational field that I figured out the last couple of weeks. Like even in the house here, because I live alone in a huge house in the countryside where no one is around. So even here, it's not an anxiety in sense of that I can feel it, but the stream is still there. And then I was in the car and I was going out, and I had no partner. I was going out on my own, and I felt in the car how the layers of protection were built up in the car. And I was like consciously like, no, 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 I'm not going to do that anymore, because I was so used to protect my energy field with those, like it, I was at a talk the week before, and I had this it was a talk about submission and surrender from a woman. Her name is Maggie Tappert. She wrote a book called Pleasure, and it's so cool. She's like 60 something, and she's like a really cool femdom, and I was going there to look at this talk. And but I was so insecure, like, but not consciously, subconsciously, that the layers will build up. So I sat in the second row on the left, and 5 chairs next to me, nobody would sit there. Nobody would sit next to me. They were before me and behind me. The room was full. People were getting chairs out of the back, but they would not sit next to me. That's how intense my protection layers are built up. Like that's what happens. And that it was made conscious at that talk. And then I was going out the week later, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. And I didn't let it be built, like, but it's for my nervous system, it was such a challenge to not pull up that mask. To, like, people always told me, like, when they started talking to me, they're like, oh, you're so nice. I thought you're such a bitch, like such an arrogant bitch. And that arrogant bitch vibe is just insecurity. It's like, and when I say to people, I'm a very shy person, like I'm a very shy person, and I feel there is a huge part of insecurity in sense of safety. People
Yeah.
never believed me
Yep. It was
because what they
protection.
saw was the protection layers.
Mm-hmm.
And but therefore what happens if you have those masks up, those protection layers, what happens is your sincerity, your warmth, your kindness, your fluffiness, like your inner softness can never shine through, and therefore you can never attract people like that around you. The only thing you're attracting is people that A, want to pierce through your protection, or B, are protected themselves. And
Mm.
it creates a lot of tension then.
Yeah. A lot of friction.
A lot of friction, a lot of drama also, because someone like really like coming onto your protection layer that does something with your nervous system. So those masks, wearing those masks is like, it has its purpose, it makes sense, but like
Yes.
like having more consciousness. No, I'm not allowed to use the word having anymore.
Being more conscious.
Being more conscious of your masks, and the what are you protecting with those masks?
Exactly.
Like, who do you
So
protect?
the question that arises with that, and you actually put that in as view, like, who are you protecting? The mask is protecting the mask.
I think the mask, like in my experience, yes, that can be, like, if it's from an ego point of view, yes.
Well,
But
that's where all the masks are derived from anyway, if it's tied into your identity, which
yes, but
if you haven't recognized and have enough consciousness or being more aware that you have these masks, there is no conscious understanding that that's not you. So
yes,
the mask is still protecting itself.
identification. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
totally. And it's also fascinating. when I used to work in corporate world, I had, you know, the Rolex and the diamond rings and the you know,
Mm.
the handbags, the Gucci and the Louis Vuitton and like all of it. And what's really fascinating, also, all of that is protection layer.
Mm.
Like today,
Social status.
no, it looks like social status. The only thing it does, it protects you. Like
Being in that social status.
if I wear a Rolex and my diamond rings, and I go out, it creates a physical protection layer. Like
Mm.
it's like not physical, but
Right.
it's for me, palpable. Let's keep it
Right.
that way.
Right.
Not physical in the literal sense, but quite literally, actually.
Well, I mean, it's a part of the physical reality. So
Yes, it creates a physical protection of your auric field.
yeah.
So fascinating. And I said that to Bettina because she used to do the same thing. She's like, I said to her one day, I was like wearing the Rolex and the ring and everything, and I'm like, it's so funny, this Rolex and the ring, they create this protection. And she's like, why do you think I always wear mine? I was like, that's very fascinating, no?
Mm.
Like,
There's so much beauty in being more conscious when you start recognizing the collective unconscious and how it reflects through certain things that you do, and you're able to see within yourself, and then being able to see it within the collective unconscious. Because what we talk about a lot on here is we do speak on the collective unconscious, and then we talk about, you know, your personal unconscious, but
yeah,
it's all intertwined together. And when we talk about the personal unconscious, where does that personal unconscious come from? If you are deeply connected with the collective unconscious from a very young age, when you started adopting an ego and your own personal set of views and ideas, you're already tied into the collective unconscious. So when you start becoming more conscious, you recognize, well, what personal unconscious do I hold on to if it all was derived from the collective unconscious? So you're really battling the shadow. And I actually go into this with the shadow work video that I talk about, is when you're too busy staring at the shadows, you forget that you're the light. So it's like the object, which would be the belief systems of the collective unconscious, and you have made a personal identity out of said collective unconscious identity. So now you are fighting this personal collective unconscious, but it's really the unconscious collective. So when you're able to become aware of the unconscious collective, you are able to allow the awareness to flow through it and disintegrate the belief systems that were tied around with it. So that also goes along with the body, the mind. And I know you love to get on me about saying you're not your body, you're not your mind, but it's true. When we have these belief systems in set, and especially if they're intertwined within the body, when you recognize you're not the body, those belief systems start going boop, boop, boop. Same with the thought patterns. So it really goes down to going into the collective unconscious mask. So what is the mask that the collective unconscious is wearing? It's the personal conscious. It's the personal. It's the making it personal, making it personal. Whenever you are able to take yourself away from a particular situation, you recognize, is it the narrative? Is it the actual situation? The mask comes up and you go, whoa, I've been wearing a mask this whole time. And there's so much healing in that. I had to go on that tangent because you busted it wide open for that to just flow out of my mouth. So thank you for that.
great pleasure. So yeah. And I think it's very fascinating also what those, like, in order to be able to understand your masks and your subconscious landscape better, um that's what meditation does. You know, there is no option for you to understand and to really feel and click into the subconscious landscape and your masks that you're wearing when you're not letting your body sit and you close your eyes and you meditate. Like I sometimes said I meditated while driving a car, and that's basically true because my brain, because I'm so sensitive, my brain needs to, I always said I have to think things to the end. And what I meant with that was like I had to go back to situations and then like understand all the information, because I get so much information of situations. For example, when I go out into a bar, it takes me like 3 days to transform all the information that are still hanging in my auric field in my physical body. Like if someone touches me on the back to shift me somewhere from A to B, in a bar, it's like I have to go in there, and then I'm like, this whole information, there's so much information in my field, because my body and there are different types of physical bodies, but mine is like sponge, and my auric field as well. So the way I work through this world is to absorb all informations, and that has to do with this insecurity, with this
Mm.
deep installed pattern of not feeling safe anywhere.
Let me ask you a question
Yes.
before you start going. How many showers do you take in a day?
One.
Whenever you go out, okay, so hear me out.
Yeah.
What I started noticing within my system is, with also being very, very sensitive, maybe not as sensitive as you, because you do still have, the more moon centers than I do.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: if I spend more than 8 to 10 minutes with someone new, I have to take a shower.
Mm.
I will take on all their information, and I don't want no part of that. And being aware, I can see that it's trying to intertwine with my energy, and it's very uncomfortable, but I still sit with it, and I can close my eyes and I can get rid of everything. But taking a shower, one that's
That's
not extremely cold, not extremely cold, too cold is not no good. It sends a shock to the system, which is good for particular practices and techniques that I would use that for. But for this thing, um, almost room temperature to a little bit below, and you just rinse yourself off. Don't worry about doing all the extra stuff, but you just rinse the body off. It clears out the pores and all the information within the body that you took from that person. And the only reason I'm even saying this, because I noticed it after I would spend too much time with particular people that had like almost a cloud over them. I'm like, oh, it would take me days to get over all of that. I'm like, I'm integrating these other people's stuff. Like, what is this? So then I started taking showers after spending too much time, and the results are remarkable. I walk out of it feeling completely refreshed, because we
nice.
are part of this earth. The water is very cleansing and healing. I highly recommend, if and also for anyone that's listening, if you have the same problem that Nicole has had and that I have had, take a shower. There's many other techniques that you can do as well, but what I've noticed and
I
that has
think
helped
that's
me
a
was
very good idea.
take it, just jumping in the shower, rinsing off, spending 5 minutes in the shower, then getting out. You feel refreshed, the energy's all clears, your aura is feeling nice and squeaky clean, because the inside was nice and squeaky, so everything is flowing perfectly. If you spend too much time with a particular person, I say for me, it was always like around 8 to 10 minutes. If I spend a little bit too much time with, I had to take a shower. Anything below that, it's easy to notice. I don't have to take anything in. But 8 to 10 minutes, if I'm with them more than 8 to 10 minutes, I
Mm.
gotta take a shower. There's been times when I was taking 4 or 5 showers in a day. Now, I've been able to get it really under cue where I'll take 2 to 3. But yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's a very good technique. I I forgot about that.
Hmm.
Sometimes, yeah,
Yes.
sometimes you know things, but you forget.
Yeah,
Like
for
I
sure.
forgot about that, but because it was not necessary during COVID, I
Mm,
somehow, like, the people that I see in my life the last 2 years are my close friends, the allies that come here to the house for filming, or my parents. Like
Mm.
I don't see people. I never like I barely never go to grocery stores. I never went out. Like that's it. And but what's really also like what's also showing what this situation with the insecurity and the working through the information, um to me it really was showcasing this part of me that is fearful all the time,
Mm.
and that's an inner child work that I need to do, and I was working on that the last 2 weeks,
Okay.
because there is because I had cancer when I was born. I was supposed to be a twin, and my twin died during the pregnancy, and it was in my kidney. So I was born with kidney cancer, with an embryonal kidney cancer. And then
Mm.
I had this operation, like I was a lot at the doctors. And then I had this operation when I was 2. They removed my left kidney. And then I had chemotherapy. I lost all the hair, radiation therapy. I was in the hospital alone a lot because parents couldn't sleep with their children in the hospital at that time.
Mm.
So, and it was always man operating me. Like the operation was done by doctors, by man doctors at this time. And so there is a deeply interwoven lack of safety when I'm around men.
Mm.
I feel very safe around women. I feel very at ease in groups of women, but I feel as soon as there is a man, and it's very subtle. It's, you know, I like like I always had male friends. I still have my one of my best friends since 20 years is a man.
Mm.
And but there is this huge underlying subtle part which doesn't feel safe when there are men around. Like, and I could feel that when I was in the bar last Friday on a birthday party. There were so many men around, and I was like, I had no corner where I could turn to with my back. So I was standing in the room, and like, you know, people were coming and going, and for a lot of people that's no problem, but for me, having people walking around me and like, you know, sorry, excuse me, can I go there, and they touch your shoulder very nicely, very respectfully, don't get me wrong, like nothing happened. But my nervous system, since there is this subtle underlying part, is like fucked up. Like it's so, I'm so stressed then, and it makes me physically sick.
Mm.
Like the last 3 days, like yesterday, I had to throw up 3 times. Bettina came here and she took it out of my solar plexus because I couldn't get it out on my own. It was so deeply interwoven, and it's like very fascinating.
Let me ask you this. So with the experience that you went through, having the cancer, having to get the operations, obviously there was a physical body trauma from
Yes,
it being male doctors.
yes,
So with the collective unconscious fear that women have towards men,
yes.
do you feel that created an identity even at a young age because you were having this fear towards men already at a young age, or that safety issue, then the collective unconscious emphasized the belief as it needed to be a part of your identity to keep you safe?
Yes.
Wow, that is deep.
Yeah, and I had it, you know, I had when I was 12, I had operations, and then when I was 11, I was at orthopedic doctors, which were really rude, and they'd hurt me with my back. And then with 16, I had this back operation with a male doctor when I died on the table. I lost so much blood. I came back. I was in the ICU for days. I was like out. And then
Wow.
like there is such a deep interwoven, and it's for me it's very physical, like, and it's I can over like my willpower, the will that I have, I can overplay that subtlety. I can like go over it.
Yeah, we got to get to the core, though. We got to get to the core.
Yes, that's what I'm working on actually since
Mm.
like 3 weeks now, 4 weeks almost. I work on this, letting those subtle insecurities and fears, um, I really let them stream in my system without doing anything. So I
Good.
can, in meditation, I can understand them better
Yes.
because I think it's very important, because this physical insecurity that women have towards men, and that I'm not the only one that has that.
Right.
Like, women don't, like, here where I live in the countryside. I don't go out after 6 in the evening for a dog walk, even though I have 2 dogs with me. I would never do that, because you never know.
Mm.
Like, there is such a deeply interwoven insecurity, like you have as a woman, this, also from the epigenetics, from the ancestor lines, there was so much rape going on, there was so
Mm.
much um pain, and like the female bodies um were raped and mistreated over so many centuries. And I mean,
Yes.
I had lives where I did that. I have worked on lives where I raped women as a man. Like,
Mm.
I do understand the close, like how close your heart must be to do such things, and because I lived through it. But I think it's time, like this healing journey that the world is on right now. Like, everybody says, oh, it's the Great Awakening. Yes, it is the Great Awakening, but I think it's basically it's a healing journey of the collective subconscious. And the big thing that needs to happen within us is the relationship between masculine and feminine. We talked about it last week. But in order to trust your own inner masculine, or so your own inner feminine can thrive, you need to trust that masculine part. And in order to trust the masculine part, you need to have an understanding of um, the collective landscape,
Mm.
and therefore your own subconscious landscape.
So we hit an actual very pivotal moment and topic here, and being able to express it is that the resonance that you have towards your trauma could be being amplified by a collective unconscious belief
Yes.
system that it has nothing to do with what you've already gone through and that you've already healed and recognized, but is being pushed and almost propagated by the collective unconscious. That energy is keeping it pushing. And if you're not aware that the collective unconscious is affecting the system just as much, you will continue to fall down the same rabbit hole of believing what the collective unconscious is telling you to
And
believe.
you can change, like you can choose. I consciously chose,
Yes.
because I worked a lot of things, like of collective changes through my body. I did that the past 10 years. Like, whenever there, here in Europe, there needed something to be done for the collective, I did it over my physical body. Like Bettina last year, she took shit out of my physical body. So, and I did that over time. And I said, I'm not doing collective work with my physical body anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. So what's now happening is, I just do my work in order to understand the collective field,
Mm.
but without the need of the whole pain and the
Right.
whole,
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
And but that and that's where Kundalini yoga comes in for me.
Mm.
In Kundalini yoga, we have so many techniques of meditations, but also physical yoga, where you can do certain kriyas, do certain meditations in order to maneuver yourself in a different way in your subconscious landscape. And therefore you elevate the vibrational home base in your subconscious, so you can like work through those blocks. Because the collective subconscious, let's talk real, like the collective subconscious mistrust of women towards men, that's what we were talking about, was reflected within me, very subtle, but it's still there, that I don't trust men. So this subtle mistrust, what it does in the physical body and in the emotional body, creates a belief pattern in the mental body. And therefore this, and it's subconscious, it's unconscious, and this unconscious belief pattern in my mental body, plus the physical vibration of insecurity and of fear of men, creates a vibrational field that I'm emanating into the collective in order to attract exactly what I believe.
Yes. So we'll put it in other terms as well. Let's say you have a super massive emotional reaction to a particular thing. Your body is going to download that data and it's going to create a belief system to stay the hell away from that particular thing. But because you've created a belief system around that thing, that's going to keep popping up. And this is something that I talk about with people with shadow work, is that person that's showing those red flags. Like, let's say you had a particular situation play out, 5 years ago. You hit your knee, broke it, caused a major trauma, and you heard a particular person's laugh, and that laugh just blows you off the chart. It makes you remember all the pain. You have someone come into your experience, and they laugh like that, and then the trauma comes back up, and you're triggered, and
Interview, yes.
yep. So that could be happening over and over and over again. So when you're able to, I don't know if disconnect would be the right word, but when you're able to be conscious enough that it's really the unconscious happening, and you're able to be conscious and make that unconscious belief system conscious, you're going to take that same momentum of energy and bring it into awareness. Now you're operating from a completely different space. You're rising above the thoughts and the belief systems and the emotional patterns that has produced. And you're also eliminating all the mass that went along with that particular trauma. So let's say you started overeating because of that trauma. You started doing this and you started doing that and you started doing this and that, and all these different little personality traits that went along with this big ass mask you're wearing over your face because of this particular trauma. All of that starts to fall away. Something that happened with me was I felt unworthy of love. And when I stopped wearing that mask, the weight fell off of me. I was 280 pounds. I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself, but I was too much of a coward. In my mind, I remember I'm too much of a coward to kill myself. So I'll find other ways to do it. I'll eat myself to death and I'll drink myself to death, which was unconscious as well. I was believing the thought patterns that were going on inside my head. I was in a toxic relationship that would reflect back to me that I wasn't worthy of love. All the whole works. Everything about my personality at that time was the reflection of unworthy of being loved. So when something sparked within me and I recognized, oh, this voice isn't me, and I started becoming more and more aware, that mask slowly fell off. Guess what else stopped? The overeating, the drinking, the hating myself, the negative self-talk, everything that was intertwined within this belief system and this emotional pattern and the psychological pattern that was subconscious and unconscious, it all started to fall away. Did it take work? Yes. I had to sit there. I had to observe. I had to sit there with every emotion that arose. I had to sit there with every thought that came through the head. I had to sit there and observe. The best way to learn is to observe. You sit with this body, you sit with this mind, you sit with these emotions. You'll learn and you'll understand it.
And I feel to say to all of that, do I want to say it? Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, for a lot of us, I, the trauma that is happening to you, like you said, you broke your knee and someone was laughing. So the, the question is, it goes even further.
Mhm.
Like our cells, the bunch of things that you live in, of the physical body, are here since the beginning of time. So from an epigenetic point of view, your vibrational trauma, your physical body holds the vibration of the collective that you were born into. And because the bodies are buried and then they become soil and then they become food, and it takes time, but they're here for since forever. So from your genetic point of view, you're holding already a certain vibration of the place you were built, like you were conceived and born into. And it's also very fascinating, like if you were for example, if you are from American parents but you were born in Europe, you always have this dissonance of your physical body and the collective field that you're living in. Or if your parents are from Africa and you were born in Africa and then you came to Europe or you came to the States, your physical body holds the dissonance of the collective and the collective thought patterns of this country or of this place,
Mm.
and your own physical body that's different. And so I think that is something very, very interesting, especially nowadays where people move so much
Oh
around.
yeah.
It's so fascinating to understand that your body holds the vibration of the epigenetic collective pattern. And interesting enough, also, food does the same. So
Mm-hmm.
here in Europe, we, for example, have a lot of vegetables and fruits coming from Spain and Italy. You get what I want, where I want to go?
Absolutely.
Or from Morocco, or from like some of here, a lot of people eat avocados and mangoes from Costa Rica.
Right.
So what that does is you're eating the food and the food becomes your body. Like this physical body is the result of what you have eaten in the past
Yes.
X
Absolutely.
years. So your physical body starts to hold vibrations of different countries. That's why, for example, for my body, for my physical body, I have my grandfather was Italian. He came from Italy. And so my physical body reacts the easiest when I eat food produced on Italian soil
Mm.
or Swiss soil. Like,
Oh,
so
we're going into memory. Yeah, this is
it's
unique.
like, this is, I know it's down the rabbit hole again, I know, but
No, it's beautiful because
that's what
it
I
ties
work
right
with.
in what we've been talking about with
That's what
the
I work with
collective
all the time.
unconscious.
And when people say you have to eat organic and local, I fully agree. Like, if you really want to have the experience of you incarnating in a physical body in a certain time space reality, that makes so much sense.
Mm.
Or, for example, a lot of people eat a fish, salmon. Then you're like, yeah, it's very fresh salmon. Honey, the salmon is from Canada or from Norway. Like, it's never really fresh and it's not made. Or like, also, like, but the husband, my sister's husband, he's Italian. Like, his parents are Italian. So he eats a lot of fish and a lot of scampi. What's the English word? Shrimps,
Shrimp, yeah.
shrimp,
Shrimp
shrimp,
scampi.
shrimp scampi. Um, and he eats a lot of those things. And for his physical body, this is like, and tomatoes for his physical body, this is really healthy, because his physical nature, his epigenetic, his DNA is still programmed to have this certain kind of seafood, because his parents were born at the sea, both of them.
Mm.
So their food was like, for centuries and centuries they were eating fish. So his body reacts the best to fish.
Right.
So what I try to do is I try to eat, like, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat dead animals. And so what I do is I eat the
Oh, so you eat alive animals?
no, I don't chew them. Like, look, it's still the fool dog there. Like, I don't chew off an ear.
Right. We start the podcast, you're chewing on the dog. I'd be like, oh, okay.
Well, no,
You
no,
okay, Nicole?
I don't eat them alive or dead. I don't eat animals. I find it very strange that people still do that. For me, it's like, what? Like, why would you do that? But that's a personal preference. You do you.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So what I do is, like, I pay extra money to be able to eat veggies and fruit produced here in Switzerland,
Hmm.
because for my physical body, it's the easiest to get the nourishment that I need to understand the collective,
Hmm.
to and when I have, like, for example, I never eat avocado, I never eat mango, I never eat pineapple, because, like, I
Oh,
eat,
I love avocado. Oh,
everybody does. I
I
know.
love it.
I know everybody does, but um I just don't do it. But it's a choice,
Mm.
because I don't want to, like, for my physical body, yours is different.
Yeah, big time. Well, with this as well, we can also go into astrocartography.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, we could go, oh my god, yes,
This
we
should be
could
a
go
whole.
down the rabbit hole again. Oh my god, I
Oh,
love astrocartography. That's
yes.
the world.
So, and even with this conversation that we're having now, we're talking about the memory and the genetics of the food that you eat, and where the region, where the food comes from, where the body comes from, your ancestry, and everything that goes along with it, is that it is evolutionary memory.
It is.
So,
And
well,
all the food holds evolutionary
yeah,
memory.
absolutely,
And
because this is the same as the food that we're putting into it.
yes,
It's like
it,
instantly, and then the intelligence that's
exactly.
able to,
This
yes.
is the result of the food you take.
Exactly. And we
So
we are the intelligence that's able to witness and actually be a part of the process of making that into this body.
yeah, and, like, at the time back in the days when I used to eat fish, uh, there's this fish called P- Pangasius. I don't know. It's
Sounds nice.
it's a white sea fish, and
Mm.
it's but they have it frozen. Like, you can buy them frozen in, like, stacked, and they're coming from China.
Mm.
Imagine, like, the shrimps come from China a lot. Like,
Oh yeah.
and then you could go into the chicken production, and I mean, you can go down that rabbit hole when it comes to food production.
Right.
I think what's really, like, I don't say, like, do it, you're only allowed to eat organic veggies. Like, do you? I don't care what you do, but be aware that for your body there are certain things, because of your genes and because of the epigenetic of the food, that work really good, and there are certain things that don't work at all.
Mm. Yeah. Big time. Big time. I mean, then we go into, the understanding now. If you're aware enough and you're able to reprogram your DNA through your awareness and conscious awareness.
To activate the DNA,
Exactly.
there are a lot
To
of
Yeah, oh yeah. I feel we could go into a whole nother series of podcasts talking about this.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing about this podcast is, one, we've stayed on topic the whole time because it's always, we've been talking about unconscious, we've been talking about memory, and we've been talking about the way that it's deeply ingrained not only within ourselves but within ourselves, what we believe ourselves to be, when we started with the mask and the mask that we wear. So I mean, it has been an amazing podcast, I must say. This has been fun. I
Yeah.
mean, I have fun every week, but this one has just been like, bow, 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 bow.
It was very flowy.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening. We're
Yes.
trying to go down the rabbit hole a bit sometimes, but then it's like
If we go too deep, then we'll lose the audience. They'll
I
be
don't-
like, what? They're still stuck.
no, I do not agree at all.
No, see, this is what I'm saying. If you put too much of a rabbit hole in one episode, when you go down the same rabbit hole through multiple episodes, then there's enough information that can be provided for it to be an adequate understanding of the rabbit hole that we are showing.
Yeah.
It's like when you try to watch a whole Netflix series in
Welcome to
one
Rabbit
episode.
Hole
We're about to
Please
turn from the
extend.
Blossoming Unity podcast to the sequel, the Blossoming Unity
maybe
rabbit
should
hole.
rename the podcast. We should, and instead of Blossoming Unity, we call it Down the Rabbit Hole.
We can create a whole separate podcast.
Oh yeah, we should.
This could be a sub podcast where we talk about conspiracy theories and we
Oh,
talk about
yes,
damn
that
rabbit
would be
holes.
So much fun. I would love it. Oh my god, yes.
And that place we'll talk about all the woo-woo stuff.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, we should.
Oh, we should do the woo woo. I miss the woo woo stuff. I like.
So do I.
I really like. Maybe we should let us know. Should we do more woo woo here?
Yeah. Or should we just create a whole nother podcast, call it the rabbit hole, and we just go completely.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, we just do it.
Call it like that.
Do it.
Please.
And there, we wear sweats.
I want to have this
and
podcast.
pajamas. We have pajamas. We'll have popcorn and snacks, and we'll just sit here and converse about the rabbit hole, conspiracy theories,
yes,
and all the madness. We'll have all the fun.
Oh, that would be. I would enjoy that so much.
We can even pull up topics about certain things that people talk about. We can give our opinion on it. We'd be like, oh, so what do you think about this? Andromedon and all these, that's, and those.
We can talk about aliens.
Anything, all of it. So let us know. Shoot us a DM if we should create the Rabbit Hole podcast. Let us know.
No, I want to do it. I mean,
we'll do it. We can do it either way, but shoot us an email and a DM with a thumbs up if you want to be a part of it.
Yes, do it. Let us know, but we will do it anyway.
Yes. Like always, everyone, we love you. Thank you for spending this time with us.
A lot.
Sitting at the table with us. We really appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure having you. No, to have you.
Yes. Always. Always.
Look,
I love you all. Have a beautiful week. Make sure to check out the tarot on Ellie.vision so you can get all the latest information. And we have astrology on there so you can know what's going up on the sky above you.
Yes.
If you're going to have your head in the clouds, you might as well take it to outer space and figure out what those planets are doing for you. Are they helping? Are you fighting? Let's figure it out together. We're not called the Blossom Unity for no reason because we're supposed to unify. It is 222 right now, AM. Listen, balance, and allow yourself to have and use the tools that are set there for you. Yoga, meditation, breathing. Have fun at it. This life is meant to be celebrated. Love you. Have a beautiful week. Mwah.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye.